let's go to case 3. That was Janet. She came because she had for 15 years mouse leucoplanus, which is a fungal infection, and it creates terrible blisters. She bleeds more or less all the time. Blisters are on the cheeks, upper roof, everywhere, and the gums as well. I have to say I've never seen that before. But all her teeth are kind of loose, and she goes to dentist every month having anesthetic so that he cleans around the gums and the teeth. Horrible stuff. So she asked me, can I help? I had no idea. So I said, let me write your name and date of birth on a piece of paper and tell you. So I put my fingers on it and I asked Pendulum, am I able to help Janet? And then Pendulum said yes. So I asked, what is the percentage? Because I must confess, I don't take clients if it's 50%. The minimum I would take is 75. Because there will be another therapy for them, which is better. And we not only waste their money, but also a reputation, because they would say, oh, Wanda hasn't got a clue, she didn't help me. And the belief in alternative is diminishing. So I normally rate my clients, if it's not 75, I won't take it. So I established 80. So I said to her, it says it will be 80% success, and I counted how many sessions, and I said 9 sessions. So I said, do you want to think about it, come back, or what do you want? And she said, no, let's start. So I started, and of course it's immunity. Again, a question of digestion and diet, right? So Janet has provided me with the diet sheets. I now ask all the clients to bring me what they eat. And I use Pendulum to say, this is 90%, this is 70%, this once a week, this only once a year, and stuff like that. So I just set it up. And so F1 showed 8, which is the autonomic nervous system and the sensors. And then we have 9 central nervous system, 5 kidneys and liver and all that, and immune system. Interestingly, immune didn't come first. Because in cases like that you would think immune, isn't it? But it didn't. Bacteria, viruses, candida, helicobacter, you name it, she had it. So I took Pendulum and I said to myself, what is it really I should treat? Why do I start with nervous system? So Pendulum reset me into 6, 5, 4 and 2. So I was happy with that. Because she had also had problems, there were some black marks here and there. So I did talk to her, and mostly she had terrific traumas in her life. Not only the children, which sometimes give us traumas, but she buried 2 husbands, and her own life as a young lady was traumatic. So I noted down all the traumas. And the diet. The diet wasn't right at all, because she loved satsumas, oranges, which were further aggravating the sugar of all her mouth. And the last thing at night she liked is a glass or half a glass of wine followed by chocolate. And she went to bed. Because she was living alone and, feeling lonely. So I said, you can't have that. So she was very sorry about the piece of chocolate. Only one piece of chocolate before I go to bed? No. So we've eventually got it down to what it should be. And on the 9th session, in fact I gave her radionics, cleanse toxins, because she was full of toxins and poisons. Improving blood circulation, because obviously there were no nutrients going on. Her arteries were also blocked then, carotid arteries. Gave her a tissue salt radionically, and apana, which is one of the pranas which enclose the GI system. eliminate miasms. There were a number of miasms. She even had SORA, she had syphilitic miasm and psychosis. So the three basic miasms. Yeah, I worked on that many times. It wasn't just one session of radiology. And establish the feelings. Did she feel guilty, unclean, or judgmental? Because that is where the whole thing is coming, to these three feelings. So we trashed it out, and I was, the way you can treat radionically is to eliminate the feeling, but it's much more difficult. It's rather to put, for example, courage is to put the opposite to replace the lower vibration. And constantly the supple bodies, nadis. And I ask her to burn. For those who have candida, it's excellent to burn certain essential oils in the house constantly. So you breathe it in, goes through ears, goes through nose and everywhere. So there are a number of essential oils. For her, myrrh was the best. And when we finished on the 9th session, she sent me a feedback that my dentist was delighted, it's improvement. He was dreading looking in, but was impressed this time. So all the ulcers closed. I think there was one or two on the roof of her mouth, but she's really improved, I mean, fantastically. So yeah, so this is how radionic treatment looks like. You just put an affirmation and a number. You want to look at it? Maybe not. So just simple. And even if you don't know the numbers, my teachers, they just put affirmation and wave the pendulum over it. So you just connect yourself with that person. You put the witness being, I don't know whether I have a witness in here. Witness being just preparation of hair. So anybody can do it, and it's really, so I have it. It's normally a circle, so there are two pieces of white stickers, and on top of that you just write first name and date of birth, and that I can trace everything, inclusive of past life and diseases. And so after today's lecture, I'm going to track for somebody a P5. So I take her witness when I go back, because she has P5. Because she complains, I've done SI, and normally SI for the lower back pain is the veins here in the legs, isn't it? So I treated very successfully just, you know, the thighs. Yes, just this area. And the popliteal veins and arteries at the back of the knees, and it helps the lower back, but for her it didn't help. So that, as Liz was talking about B5, she just came into my head and said, I have to check it. So that is enough to trace the person. The person can be in Honolulu on holidays. If it's not well and sends me a text, everything will go to normal. So yeah, so she was done, and it's absolutely fantastic. So we had what chakras deficient? Obviously heart, solar plexus, and throat, because she could not express all her traumas. She never talked about it. So parathyroid, according to radionics, holds all the traumas of life. So I treated also parathyroids and other things. And there was the time that she wanted to die. So, you know, so this is a root chakra issue where she wanted to die. She said one of her daughters just walked into the room and she sort of decided it was a control. What do we have next? Number 4. Who was that? Leslie. Yeah. So 50-year-old, a very clever businesswoman, super, absolutely super. But pains, everywhere pains, chest, legs, neck, lower back. She said she had to, she was coming to my, thank you, she was coming to my yoga classes, but stopped because she found it very difficult to drive in the morning. She had to wake up in bed and doing sort of, you know, twists first before she could even put her feet on the floor. So again, nothing terribly wrong, but she had a few bacteria and all that, candida. So F1, number 2, 6, 1 and 5, and F11, which I also use. I just look at what would be the most important liver cleansing. And then crystals, I look for, 35 contaminants and all that when I do the first session so that I know where we are. And F15, I didn't put it on here. And F44, it was hardship and need for attention. And I think she was also going through a bad spell with her husband, so didn't help. So what was the main cause of the whole thing? Really, the very old knee injury with the surgery 30 years ago. But as they done the surgery, I'm sure they twisted everything. They twisted the hips, and whatever she was doing since these 30 years has created some kind of misbalance, so that's one. But the most important was still diet. And each of my clients, each client, whether he comes with the bleed on the nose or falling off ear, I ask for a diet, because I think it's just so important. So in her case, I did do the spectral nodules, and I tell you, I have to read you this, what she wrote to me, because you die laughing. I had spectral nodule done by Louise. Louise and I, we experiment on each other. Then I said, so she, I don't know what, cytomegalovirus as well for me. I had it in my shoulders, painful shoulders, and no longer painful. So when Louise gave me cytomegalovirus, I went home and I was so tired. I just couldn't keep my eyes open, and I said to her, oh my gosh, we have to be careful how we do it for our clients.
She did anti-frequency for cytomegalovirus, aren't you?
Yes.
Right? So she fed it through...
She fed it through my hands.
Yeah,
that's right. She fed it through my hands.
And you felt absolutely...
I felt dead, literally dead, and I'm not really sort of, normally tired. So I told Leslie, I said, Leslie, well, are you going somewhere this afternoon? I don't know when she came, but I think it was midday. And no, but I don't know, maybe we go for dinner with my husband. So I said, you'll be tired. You'll be very, very tired. I said, please, go home, don't drive anywhere. Just go home. So she said like that. I came home with the expectation of the tiredness to come. And even decided I would have a quiet early night. Almost a woe is me attitude of how I would feel over the next few days. However, it could not be further from the truth. I'm buzzing. Stayed up till 1 o'clock, was up to at 7 a.m., have already had a conference call, and I'm going for my walk. I feel light, excitable, thrilled, and that I don't feel rubbish, just full of joy and spring. You might have to adopt your warning. No, you said you might leave all this, adopting this warning to your client. Please change your comments. I laughed so much, I couldn't laugh. So I really, from then on, I said, you might be tired. So she was fantastic, and she completely, till today, she put one of her references on my leaflet is from her, because she said she saved so much money. She had massages of her lower back, going to chiropractor once a week, because she couldn't last more than a week. And she said, I saved a lot of money using Sensitiv Imago. So that was a very good one. But I did mostly her thighs and legs, because the popliteal vein were completely blue, and popliteal arteries were black. So there was no nutrients going down the legs, and no toxins, on the way up. So, okay, I think that's enough. Thank you.